Saturday at 6 p.m. at Fis Field, which is next to the baseball fields, is where our game will be. At 4 p.m., we're having a spike ball and bags tournament. So if you're interested in coming, please scan that QR code on the right, and it's like a survey, so we know who your partners is, and then we can make it. But if you don't want to play the tailgate with a lot of the different AMA people or the soccer parents, you can scan that QR code and fill out the survey, just so we know like how many people and how much food we need to get. And with that, it's free food and drinks. Also, this is our goal is $7,000. Right now we're almost at 3,000. Any donation is appreciated. I know that was a lot of information in a really short time. So if you have any questions, please email me at that email address right there. But I hope to see you guys on Saturday for our soccer game. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Margot. And thank you, everyone who came up here to speak. And now let's get started with our financial services certificate.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. How many people in here are finance students? Raise your hands. All right, good number, good number, okay? This is the Financial Services Certificate. And we're going to talk a little bit about financial services today and a little bit about what makes it different, what your opportunities are. And we have Ben Kornowski up here from Federated Insurance. Okay, we have Michelle Arendale, who is online with FIS. And we also have one other person from Northwestern Mutual who is on her way here. Is it Anya that's coming? Okay, Anya von Klopp will be coming. And unfortunately, Paycom had something come up and isn't able to make it at the last minute. But we'll talk a little bit about each of these companies. And they are interested in hiring students right out of school. But there's some great opportunities. So, Andy, if you could. Okay, so a little while ago, the finance and law department and the Department of Marketing got together and formed a financial services sales certificate program. Normally, Mark Gamak would be standing here with me, but he had to leave. And lucky guy is going up to Door County, which is where I'm from. And anyway, but he asked me to point something out. He and I both had slightly different backgrounds, but ended up in almost the same positions. Okay? Mark was a finance major. Took a few marketing classes, but he was a finance major. I, on the other hand, was a marketing major, but took a few finance classes, right? Okay, so a little bit difference. Did I say that right? He was a finance major. Anyway, bottom line is we both ended up in financial services. Mark ended up being a salesperson and a manager for Northwestern Mutual. And I'm sure some of you have him in classes and he talks about his experiences. And I ended up becoming a sales manager, was a salesman for a number of years and sales manager, just like Ben is here for Northwestern Mutual, for Federated Insurance Company, 26 years, okay? But here's the difference. The marketing students know how to persuade, to present, to sell, to have the soft people skills. The finance majors have really good financial number analytical skills. You know what? In the financial industry, you need them both. Because what do you think the number one position is that most graduating marketing seniors, good afternoon, have a seat, welcome. That's all right. What do you think the number one position is most graduating marketing seniors end up in? Sales. Number two is management. Okay. In finance, what do you think the number one position most finance majors end up in? Pardon? Well, actually, I think it's financial analysis. And then number 2 is financial planning, which is, guess what? Sales. Okay. So what Mark said, and it's very true, and I want to make this point. As when he went to work in the financial industry, he had to learn how to sell. When I went to work in the financial industry, I had to learn the finance side. We both had a little bit of it, but not enough. So we came up with this program. And basically what it does, it has some required courses. If you're a finance major, you take your business finance, you take essentials of financial planning, and you take the insurance class. And then you take the marketing courses. You all have to take principles of marketing, and then you take principles of selling, and you take entrepreneurial and advanced sales. And now you have a financial sales certificate. Works the same way around for the marketing, so that's it. It's that simple. You add 3 classes, one you already have to take, add 2 more classes, and you get the certificate. So I strongly suggest anybody that looks and is considering becoming a financial planner, a broker, another sales position, an insurance agent, looking at getting into real estate, you should sign up for this. This will help you get a job, and it'll give you the skills that you need going forward. All right. So go ahead. I got ahead of that, so go ahead. So today's financial service event, we've got a couple things. And we're going to talk a little bit about insurance, investment, fintech, and banking. Fintech, excuse me. So you can go through that. Okay. So insurance services. You all see lizards and cavemen and ladies with funky hair and emus selling insurance, right? But the world of insurance is a whole lot more sophisticated than that. A whole lot more sophisticated. So there's specialty insurances, there's commercial insurance, there's life insurance, disability. There's a lot of different types of insurances. It's a transfer of risk. Insurance companies are financial companies. They have a large pool of money, they pay out claims when necessary, and they help people save and distribute that money later on when they need it or when they pass away. Go ahead, Andy. The investment side, what do brokerage houses? That includes stocks, bonds, commodities, mutual funds. There are people that work for those funds. They're on that side selling to the people that sell it. There are business development consultants, business brokers, accounting firms. I have a meeting next week with my financial consultants. They're salespeople. Yes, they're analysts. They're personal financial people. One's an accountant, but guess what? They're salespeople. And there's personal financial planning, so that's why I'm doing. And there's retirement planners and people who run and manage funds and services. Go ahead, Andy. Financial technology, fintech. And we have Michelle Arendale here with FIS. She's here virtually. And Michelle is, they do all the companies that if you have a banking app, if you get a financial statement from anybody, if you go swipe a credit card, they're involved in that technology from the back end to the front end. In other words, the front end being the consumer and the back end being all the technology that goes on behind it, transferring money, moving it around, making it possible. That's what fintech is, and we'll have her talk a little bit about that. And then the next thing, Andy, is banking. And we think about banking services, and that includes, who here has a checking account or a banking account, right? Okay, you use your debit card, you set up things, you set up Venmo through it and all those good things. That's some services, but there's a whole lot of commercial services too. And that includes not only just lending money for autos, but it's lending money to businesses to operate, laying out mortgages, helping businesses purchase equipment, leasing. We're doing a sales competition right now. We're getting ready for in Florida State. And it's actually going to be in Orlando, go to Disney after. But that competition is all about leasing services. Companies that lease equipment for companies that need to invest. They don't have the money, they use leasing as a tool. So there's tons of different opportunities in finance. Go ahead, Andy, and we'll put it forward. So These are the companies that we have here today. And again, Paycom can't be here, but we'll talk a little bit about them later on. So we're going to start out with, I'm going to ask, and we have Anna Van Klopp, right? Von, okay. We have Anna Van Klopp, and I still can't, Anna Van Klopp, thank you. And Ben Koronowski from Federated. And we'll start with Ben first. Yeah, sorry, just thick tongue. Ben, we'll have you talk a little bit about Federated and tell us about what Federated does, Federated Insurance.
All right, I'm Ben with Federated Insurance. I've met some of you guys before at different events. I am the district marketing manager for Western Wisconsin. So I took over what Dan did for 20 some years. He paved the way, and now I took over that area. How many of you before Dan or me have heard of Federated Insurance? Okay, we got less than 10 hands up. That's by design. We'll talk about that in a second. So Federated Insurance, what we do is we do business to business insurance. We don't do any house insurance. We don't do any really personal lines types of things. Everything we do is selling to businesses. If you actually go to the second slide, we'll start with that. So what we do is I work directly for the insurance company. We're not an agency. We don't, shop through 10 different carriers. We only work for Federated Insurance. So what we do is we work in some very specific industries and we do not go outside of them. What that allows us to do is right here, we've got car dealerships, construction companies, equipment dealers, a lot of petroleum companies as well. What that allows us to do is create a very specific policy for each one of those industries. And usually it's going to give us a competitive advantage when we're coming to try to earn their business. The way that we advertise, and the reason that you guys haven't heard of us before, is we don't have any of those mascots. We don't have, the person with the crazy hair. What we do is each business in each one of those representative industries up there joins a trade association that basically advises them on different parts of their business, the financial aspects, the insurance aspects, the risk management, HR, all of those different types of things. Big networking opportunity. We've done for over 120 years, or about 120 years, is we've partnered with each one of these associations. We sit in on their board meetings and all of their group presentations, basically, and we advise them on their insurance, and we advise them on their risk management and also some of their business succession planning. What that does is we help them out, and in turn, they only recommend us to insure all of the members that are parts of those groups. So we have 600 of those groups across the United States that only recommend us to insure their members. So when I walk into a car dealership or an electrical company and say, hey, I'm Ben with Federated Insurance, and you're speaking with the owner, they already know who we are. They've already seen our presentations. They might have even worked with us in the past. It's a lot warmer of a call than if, we're knocking our head on the door and not knowing, and they don't know anything about us. We're a fly-by-night company. So what we do is we do property and casualty. That's going to be for the buildings, vehicles, liability, workers' compensation, some of those other lines of coverage as well. We do some life and disability stuff, but we'll leave that to you guys. Annuities, and then a few other things. Risk management's a big thing for us too. We help them with their safety quite a bit. Go to the other slide then. So obviously insurance, like he had mentioned, it's in the financial industry. We have many different positions available. I personally only oversee and hire people that are part of the sales force. So we're called marketing representatives because we market the company. We don't spend any money on advertising. Everything is done face-to-face through us. We do have underwriters as well. So what an underwriter is this is more of the financial aspect of things. They're the people that basically price every policy that comes out of our system. They decide how much it's going to cost for that business to pay. They decide how much it's going to cost for each line of coverage that they're basically purchasing. Claims representatives are going to be the people that determine how much those claims actually how much gets paid out, if it's legitimate, and they basically are the face between the client and the insurance company whenever there's one of those bad things happening. Those are pretty much the three main ones that we have as far as financial services. I don't think we're going to have any actuaries in here. It's a great career if you do get into it. Risk management is going to be a different line of things, and HR is obviously a little different as well.
Right. So yeah, the risk management people would be the people over doing the occupational safety, that kind of thing. That's what we hire. So maybe we should have brought a couple of those in. But Anyway, well, thank you very much, Ben. Good overview. So our next one, Andy? Well, it just, is it Michelle? Yeah, so can we bring Michelle in?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Yep. Well, it's so good to be back. I mean, I'm virtual. I'm not in
As I
person,
said,
and
we're
I wish
trying
I
to
was.
adjust the volume. It's really hard to hear you right now.
Okay.
Andy's at the control center here, and it's he has to have as many arms as an octopus. Make this work. Okay, we should be set, Michelle.
All right, beautiful. Well, it's so good to be back, even if it's just virtual, I'll take it. I miss being on campus an awful lot. I'm Michelle Arendale. I'm a manager of sales enablement at FIS. I recruit I manage our early talent program for sales within banking solutions and capital markets. And so we bring in rising college seniors for internships and recent college graduates to enter our sales acceleration program. Do you guys have my slides? We can kind of talk through who FIS is. Awesome. Because I know a lot of people have not heard of us. So FIS, our technology is embedded into business software platforms, unlocking experiences across any industry. And it really allows change and drives change in the way we live, work, and play, and how we bank, pay bank, and invest. Do you want to go to the next slide? Thank you. So, as a member of the Fortune 200, FIS is the largest fintech company in the world, and we've been in business for 50 years, and we are in 50 countries. We are headquartered in Jacksonville, and if you've been out there, I hope you've seen our new headquarters. We've been building the most gorgeous building ever. I'm going out soon. I can't wait. And we have 78,000 employees globally. If you want to go to the next slide. Thank you. Um, so a lot of people haven't heard of FIS, but I bet that everyone probably in the room has used an FIS product today. Because anytime we save, spend, invest, or access your money electronically, you're probably using FIS software or your money's moving through an FIS network. If you bought a cup of coffee this morning, the software at the point of sale, the network that communicated with your bank to see if you had enough money to pay for that coffee, and the bank account that's holding your money all could very well be FIS products. Things that we do really enable what's possible. Linking banks to crypto exchanges, buying anything via text, banking on every device, selling fashion for avatars, banking the unbanked, paying bills with social media, just anything that you can imagine. We're moving money globally between consumers, banks, businesses, and investors, and really making the impossible happen. Do you want to move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So we're a B2B organization. I know you know we're not a household name, but many of our clients are, and they have our products embedded in their organizations, powering their financial and payments engines. And if you want to go to the next slide, thank you. So we're a big company, we're a global company. People come and they stay, and that's a great thing. But we want to recruit a diverse talent pool, and we understand that bringing in early talent is a strategic initiative because we want our sellers to look like our buyers. And we have a lot of salespeople who've been here for a really long time who have amazing knowledge, and we want to make those teams even stronger by bringing in early talent, digitally savvy natives. So we have this FIS University Program. It's a strategic global corporate program to bring in early talent. In my world, in my little purview, I manage, as I said, sales for the interns and the grads within banking solutions and capital markets. But overall, the FIS University Program is the official global program for developing and retaining early talent at FIS, encompassing both the interns and the grad program. And if you want to just go to the next slide. Thank you. So I manage sales. We also have client services and customer support, corporate support, and technology. So within sales, we're connecting clients to impactful solutions. We're solving for the future. By joining a winning sales culture and top-ranking organization, you can find answers to some of the most important questions that our clients are facing and their clients are facing. Another great option within FISU for entry for early talent are client services and customer support, where you have the ability to really be the voice of the customer. This is made up of product, technical, industry trained specialists, and you play a critical role in serving as the primary client delivery contact while building on existing relationships with multiple clients globally. We have corporate support. So I know a lot of you, are interested in studying finance and marketing. This is finance and marketing and everything in between. And it takes many corporate functions for FIS to develop and deliver the best products and services in the fintech industry, and you can play a key role in helping to take that forward. And lastly, the last bucket of our FISU entry-level roles are in technology. And that's really helping to develop advanced user-friendly solutions that we're solving for future problems. So it's exciting. I love getting to be part of this team. The first early talent program that I managed was 16 years ago. I've played a small role in a lot of people's start stories and watched a lot of people build amazing careers. So it's exciting to get to represent the program and meet you guys today. If you want to just advance to the last slide, please. So there's my contact information. All of those positions that we just talked about within FISU globally are at fisglobalcareers.com. You can check those out later. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. And we'll be asking some other questions. But before we do that, we have Anya from Northwestern Mutual. And Anya, we'll let you tell us all about Northwestern Mutual.
Yeah, so my name's Anya. So I'm the campus recruiter for Northwestern Mutual Southern Wisconsin. So I cover pretty wide variety. I cover Madison area, Janesville, a little bit into Illinois, as well as Delafield area. So a little bit, west of Milwaukee. So we do financial advising here at Northwestern Mutual. So it's pretty client focused. If you want to go to the next slide, I'll start talking about it. So we focus on a few different aspects, specifically when we're working with clients one-on-one. So just like Federated was talking about how it's a little bit more business to business, we're a little bit more client to client. So it's just like me and one other individual having a conversation. This is an industry where it's very, very focused on relationships that you create. So the three components that we do when it comes to holistic financial planning is that we talk about risk management. So simply put, insurance, life insurance, disability insurance. How many of you have heard of disability insurance? Awesome. We got some eager people over here. Oh, hey. So disability insurance, I kind of describe it similar to car insurance. Do y'all have car insurance? Okay, so disability insurance is essentially protecting you for the future. What if? Just like with your car, you don't know what might happen to it. Same with you. You never know what could happen, right? So it's more of a protection factor. Then we also do life insurance. So how many of you are familiar with life insurance? Cool. So maybe your parents have some policies put in place to help protect you, essentially. Now, our life insurance policies are pretty unique in the sense that they can also be used as a form of retirement. So not only are you protecting your family or they're protecting you, you are also helping set yourself up for future when it comes to having additional fund money after you retire. Unique thing about Northwestern Mutual is that there's only 2 companies that are AAA rated in insurance. Do you guys know what that is? What it is? We're one. The other is Microsoft. Okay, so that just shows that our insurance policies are probably some of the best that you're ever going to find. I mean, granted, everyone has different situations, but I think that's important to note. Then wealth accumulation. So that's focusing on more of the investment side of things. Who knows if they have a Roth set up or not? Anyone? Awesome, you guys are ahead of the game. Okay, so that's one form that we help our clients with. We also help our clients with figuring out things like 401ks, helping our clients understand like, hey, are you actually getting the most out of your 401k? So we're teaching you all of those things. Then wealth preservation and distribution. I see some familiar faces, so you've probably heard this pitch before, but I always describe that as your client's puzzle, okay? So you're gonna meet with a client one-on-one, and a lot of that conversation you're having is talking about what their goals are. Are they personal goals, professional goals, financial goals? What about them do you need to know? And then also having those conversations of like, what is your current financial situation? So is it debts, loans, bills? What's your income? How much you put towards groceries, okay? And so you as the financial advisor physically sit down and essentially put that puzzle together. Client gives you all the pieces, you put the puzzle together, you bring it back to them and present it so that they can see the big picture of what their future could be. And that's what you're planning for, right? So that's overall financial security. So if you take a look at that circle on the outside, I already mentioned this, identifying those goals, right? That's the first step in it. Creating that personalized plan, that's the next step. Implementing it, so now you get their approval. Yep, this is what I want for myself. Okay, you push it forward, and then reviewing that plan on either an annual or a necessary basis. So, you know, again, life is crazy, things happen. Okay, 6 months down the road, they find out they're having a baby. You got to help them plan for it, right? So you get to be a part of the most important pieces of their life. Now, in the internship, this is actually what you're doing as well. You are doing the exact same work as a full-time financial advisor. In our internship, we help you get started with insurance first. That's what we're known for. That's probably what a lot of you guys know us for, okay? So we'll help you get licensed in those. And then from there, we'll start working on a plan to help you go full-time with us. So that is a pretty seamless transition. Now, 1 out of 3 of our interns convert to a full-time role with us. And they also tend to be some of the most successful financial advisors because they started their practice so early in the internship. At post-graduation, they were ready to run. We didn't have to go through the slow training process of getting you all set up. You already have your clients established, and you can only help but grow and establish new clients. The next one is probably cool. Cool. So the top 3 takeaways, regardless if this internship is for you long-term, we hope it is, but you're gonna get a lot of relationship building. Again, this is a very client-focused relationship building type of industry. So it's really, really important that you build that relationship, and you're gonna continue to build relationships with new people or even just with the same client. You're going to learn a lot of professionalism, so understanding what it feels like to work in a professional environment, apply those professional communication skills about serious conversations, how to get some feedback, right? That's always something I think that a lot of us join the real world and we're like, oh my gosh, now I am not getting straight A's 24/7. And then financial education. So not only are you helping others with their financial education, but you are also going to learn a lot about your own. So that's just a little bit about our program. If you guys, are you going to share our contact information? Sweet. So you'll get that. So if you want to learn more, I'm your girl.
All right. So what's that commercial that's out there on the radio? Some people say, I got a guy for that. Well, we got a girl for that. Okay. Nice job. Thank you, Anya. So I've got some questions here that I'd like to ask our partners a little bit about the position, about the company. So in your mind, and Michelle, I'm going to ask you first. In your mind, how is the marketing and selling of financial services different than for just run-of-the-mill products?
So I might have a different opinion on this than others, but in my mind, there's really no difference. Both should really focus on identifying a problem and offering the value of a solution. And we really teach people to anchor in the customer's gap between where they are today and where they want to be. And both product sellers and service sellers should be selling based on solving measurable problems, tangible and with urgency. And at FIS, we sell both products and then we bundle products with services and call them solutions and sell service, standalone services. So it really is for us a value-based sales methodology. And I would say there's really no difference. Although I'm old and I've been around for a while, and I have felt like over the years, companies that were more product based, sellers did struggle to not lead with the product, to lead with the feature, and to lead with features and rather than just to self to value. But I would say there should be no difference.
Ben, what are your thoughts on that? How is marketing and selling financial services different than for products?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting. In my experience, it is a little different because in most sales positions, you're going to be selling a tangible thing that they can utilize right away in whatever need they have. In our industry, and I would say in your industry as well, it's different because we do not have a tangible thing that we're selling. We are selling a concept. We're selling an idea, and it's in our line of work, you're never going to want to use that in a positive, you're never using it in a positive situation. So biggest thing for us is being able to paint the picture of what things would look like if they didn't have what we sell. It's very different than something that, they can have in their hands and they can enjoy and they can, use on the weekends. Being able to paint the picture and really get them to understand what the consequences are if they don't have what we can provide them, and kind of viewing it as something where if we don't do a good enough job of getting them to understand what that looks like and they don't end up purchasing with us, what that could potentially mean for that client.
Yours is very heavily, and Anya mentioned that too, about the risk management side. That's portion of what they do, but yours is very heavily on the risk management.
And I'll go on with that as well. I mean, that's where, we have a product that does not physically exist. So the risk management and helping them with their safety, helping them with their HR, their policies and procedures, their documentation. If we aren't doing that for our clients and they're paying us money, all they're doing is paying for a stack of papers that have a ton of words on them. And usually it's going to be tens of thousands of dollars that they're paying for it. We need to be able to provide the services that I just mentioned to be able to create the value, create the difference, and make sure that that $100,000 that they spend per year on their insurance is not going to waste.
Anya, you also have a little different perspective, I'm sure, because you do some other sides of it on the investing side and everything else. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, I would say it definitely is different than selling a certain product, because in this situation, like, you're essentially selling yourself, of like, hey, this is who I am, this is why I should be your advisor, because everyone has their different why, and you can utilize that to your strength when it comes to actually working with clients. And I think too, just like he was saying, like, it's not a specific product that they physically get to hold. It's something that's actually impacting their entire life, right? We go to the grocery store and we're buying products at the grocery store, and after a while, we don't maybe use them anymore. Okay. And it's the same thing. It's actually not the same thing. Sorry. It's not what we do. Ours is something that's very long term. It's something that impacts your entire life, and it's extremely customizable as well. Like, our types of conversations are conversations that are helping you specifically on your situation and what is changing with your entire life. So a product is a product, right? But your life is constantly changing. And it's not transactional in that sense too, right? Like, you're doing it to impact someone. You're doing it to change their life. And again, just like that relationship aspect, like, Girl Scouts sell you a box of cookies, right? They don't need to know your name, but like, these people should, and they should know a lot about what's happening in your life too. So I think that trust, like, that's a huge part of what we're doing.
I never heard that comparison or that analogy, but that's awesome. Yes. Okay. All right. So I'll go back to Ben here right now. And what are some of the biggest challenges today in the financial services marketing?
Biggest challenge in our world, I would say, is just, in our specific industry, everyone already has someone that they're working with. They already have a relationship. They already have something they're comfortable with, and they already have something that, it has existed for years. And for us, the biggest challenge, but also the most exciting opportunity with it is, like you had mentioned, building the relationships and earning people's trust. Once you can overcome those initial challenges of the existing relationships and you can provide value and earn the trust of those prospects, it's such a fulfilling win when you're able to earn their business and start partnering with someone.
Okay, very good. Michelle, what about your business? Again, a little different. You're servicing people like Ben and Anya and so many other institutions that are out there. What are some of the biggest challenges that you're facing today in the financial services market?
Well, I think for us, both our products and our services are strategic. They're not all tactical. They really do, resonate with people's why. And so for us, like other marketers, we need to cut through the noise. We need to connect and reach with people authentically at the time of need. We want to understand, like I said, their personas and their whys. In fintech, we also, as you know, are super highly regulated. So we can't just rely on incentives to encourage behavior change or compliance or scare tactics. So, we really need to train our marketers to understand this and to effectively strike the right balance between focusing on education and risk, as well as the dream of the future of what people really want to accomplish, while also, doing everything that other marketers need to do around standing out, creating high quality leads, and then hoping that what we deliver is actually what we promised.
Okay, great. And Anya, what about at Northwestern Mutual? What are some of the biggest challenges you're facing?
Yeah, this question was actually kind of hard for me to figure out because I think it's pretty situational dependent on like the advisor, right? Who they're working with. And the other reason I was kind of thinking about it too is because I mentioned this before, right? Like understanding your why of what can you hear me? Oh, okay. Understanding your why of like what you're doing and why you're doing it, because it only takes one person for the wrong reasons to kind of mess it up for you, right? So, and I mean that when it comes to you're working with a market. Okay, again, it's all about trust. So one bad person has a bad experience, or if one person has a bad experience with someone else, and then you go to reach out and try and help and impact this person, that trust is already deflated just a little bit, right? So I think overcoming obstacles like that. The other one that I thought of was more of like compliance platforms because of the industry that we're in and working with people's real money and situations. Like what can you utilize? What can you share? What can you use for marketing purposes? I think that's like where sometimes people might find like a creativity block of like, okay, so how can I navigate around this now? So I thought those were like the most two, and then the last one, sorry, I have another one. The last one is also just separating like what is real and true when it comes to working with money. And like knowing that, hey, money is very emotional for people. So like also having to separate yourself from that and helping them direct them in the right direction, even though they might feel some type of way.
That's really well put. I'm going to interject something here too, because you mentioned the regulation, and Michelle, you mentioned, scaring people. Uh, a true professional makes them aware of what the possibilities are, what the risks are, and the consequences, and whether or not, and then helps them decide whether or not that's something that they want to mitigate through insurance or self-insure, what they want to do. But you are absolutely right. There's been a lot of bad actors in the insurance industry and financial. The history is just littered with companies and people that have done really a lot of unethical things. So, can you address a little bit what you do? And I'll ask Ben first. What do you do for as far as addressing the legislation that's out there, as far as the requirements, the licensing, the education? What do you do to make sure your people are up to snuff on that?
Yeah, so obviously in the insurance world, there's a lot of people that have bad taste in their mouth about insurance, whether it's life insurance, house insurance, car insurance, whatever it is. Our company fortunately sets us up pretty well to be able to avoid a lot of the ethical situations. First of all, we get licensed in 4 different licenses: property and casualty, health insurance, life insurance, and disability insurance. Yeah. Sorry. So then once you finish that up, we have an 8-month training program that all of our representatives go to as far as salespeople to become an expert in the industry, but also familiarize themselves with all of the legislation, because there are very fine lines that you can and can't cross. And if you do cross those, there are some pretty big consequences. So what we do the first 3 months is all just book work. It's classroom. It's basically like getting your master's in commercial insurance and the regulations that come along with that. Then once we are fully comfortable and aware of that, we get to the sales competitions, the proposals, more of the systems that we actually use in the business. And then the final third of that is going to be where we're actually able to interact with clients. Once we know that those trainees are fully competent in the regulations, fully competent in the sales skills, then they're finally able to go hit the field and actually utilize what we've been able to.
Thank you. And Anya, I know that, your people get into the financial advising, heavy into the financial advising. So you take it another step beyond. You don't do the property and casualty, but you do the life, disability, and then you take it a step beyond. How is that a little different?
Yeah, so we've actually altered our training program just a little bit based on like what we found impacts our interns the most and all of our new hires for full-time reps as well. So when it comes to training, we give you and provide you with all of the study material that you need in order to pass our exams for life insurance and disability insurance, and we'll pay for those for you as well. And then we'll also pay for you to go ahead and take those exams. Along with that, we assign you a mentor that you work with one-on-one that will teach you and go through all of those compliances with you. And then also, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with the onboarding process. Like they will also help onboard you in that process as well. We also, each office that you experience at Northwestern Mutual should have a compliance officer who is doing regular or monthly meetings to kind of go through the new compliances that Northwestern Mutual might output. And then Northwestern Mutual also does a really great job of ensuring that all the resources that you need when you're meeting with clients are up to compliancy so that you don't have to worry about it. You just have to utilize the products that they give you essentially. So kind of similar, like we do a really great job of ensuring that you shouldn't have to take a roundabout way to get to where you need to go, because everything that you should need should be right in line with what is good and true.
Okay, great. And Michelle, FinTech has got to be, and you're a global company, right?
Mhm.
How the heck do you do that? I think of all the different agencies and regulations and governments and consumer regulations for everything you do, the financial regulations, investment, Wall Street, you name it. How do you do that? How do you keep up? And how do
Yeah,
you train
no,
the people?
it's a really big, all-encompassing job. When our interns and our grads come online, come and join the organization, obviously there's a lot of training when everyone comes on board. They get an onboarding buddy, they have a mentor, people join Learning Week, where they spend time with all of our executives from all the different functional businesses so they can learn about how all of them work together to take our business forward. There's a design thinking competition where everybody solves a real company problem and then they present to their executives. We have we call them Reg U, but we have training courses throughout the whole year that are, focused on how to be online safely, how to protect data for our clients, and then all of the different financial regulations around the country. And, we do things like we'll be tested on whether if we get an email and it's a phishing email and we don't report it, we get thrown right back into that phishing, training again. That we are so on top of making sure that all of our early talent and everyone in the company is really understanding the laws, the regulations that our clients are being held to, that we're being held to, and that we're doing everything to be the first line of defense as employees and what our responsibilities are to ourselves, to our colleagues, and to our clients. So we take it super seriously.
Hey, thank you. And you mentioned the ongoing with the personnel. And I'm assuming you as well, Northwestern Mutual and Federated, you encourage and actually require continuing education and professional designations, those kind of things.
Yep. Yeah, we lead a monthly meeting basically where my whole team comes to Madison and we do continuing education. I usually guide those groups. We're approved by the state insurance commissioner, and we continually are learning throughout the years. It doesn't matter if you've been with the company for 30 years or 6 months. We're all required to take those continuing eds and make sure that we hit the certain amount that we have to hit every year to maintain our licenses.
We have something pretty similar too, along those lines. But then we also have, I always laugh because some advisors, I say, always have alphabet soup behind their name, because there's so many different licenses and titles that you can get through Northwestern Mutual. And along with that, like, we pay for all of those for you as well. So another bonus, a lot of our advisors are working right now to get like their CFP licenses. And again, we pay for those. And there's a handful more that I honestly do not know the name of, but that's, I mean, it's pretty much continuous. As much as you want to keep going, we'll keep helping you learn.
I used to have a few of those on my card, and I know, Ben, you do are earning them now. Yeah, yeah. It's continuing education is extremely important in this industry. It's critical. And then there's also, just to meet regulations, you have other things that the government comes up with that says everybody has to have. Red flag because of the Patriot Act, and, you know, guarding against money laundering, and a lot of different things that come up. So you're constantly learning in this industry and constantly growing, and it's always changing. So one of the things that I wanted to ask is, so we talked a little bit about onboarding and that kind of thing. What does a typical day look like for a new person or an intern in your company? What would they be doing? And we'll start with Ben. You had mentioned a little bit about this training program. Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so the training program, like I had mentioned, there's basically 3 phases. But like I said, it is a collegiate environment. You're going to be around all of the same like-minded types of people, salespeople, kind of the top of the class, and everyone gets together and really focuses on just learning the industry. Since we work directly for the insurance company, we write our own policies, so it's very important for us to not only take the licensing, but also really get to know the specific ones that we write, because they are so different from the other competition that we see. I mean, it's basically 7 a.m. through about 3:30, 4 p.m. You're going to be in a classroom setting, participating in games, doing a lot of like interactive stuff with the professors, also a lot of study. There's going to be homework at night. But that first initial phase is really going to be the most information dense. The second phase is going to be a lot of, again, sales competitions. It's going to be honing in on all the information that you had originally taken in, refining it, and getting your ability to portray that to other people as basically as polished as possible. That is a lot more freedom. It's a lot more come and go. It's still going to be a collegiate setting, but you have a lot more freedom with that second phase. And then the third phase, this is the coolest part, is every other week, let's say your territory gets assigned to you while you're in training. Most people do get their territory assigned there. They're actually able to go in before they're even officially in the field, and every other week meet with their future clients, prospect and meet with future potential clients, and really get familiar with their territory before they actually even hit the ground. They come back for a week. They get all of the administrative stuff done that they gathered the previous week. They do a lot of meeting of the minds as far as like what worked and what didn't. And after that final phase, they come out into their protected territory 100% ready to go. And then me as the manager, I spend 86 days in the first year riding in the car with each one of those reps to make sure that they are not drowning, struggling. We're going to make sure that they hit the runway real smooth.
He's not kidding about those 86 days.
That might be light.
A lot of those. Okay. And then they have a territory, and they go out and they're calling on customers and prospects and doing that kind of thing. So, Anya, what about you got into that a little bit, but could you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah. So, for every intern, it's going to be a little bit different. And honestly, your everyday is probably going to be a little bit different too. So the unique part of our internship is that you guys are truly your own boss. We don't keep a clock on when you come in or when you leave. We have an expectation for you to hit certain landmarks in your internship, and we'll communicate that with you. Your mentor, that's why you do mentor meetings, is so that they can make sure they're holding you accountable. But I always tell interns, like, hey, if you want to hit all your meetings in 3 days out of the week, great. Let's do it. Let's help you get there. Okay. You guys can do 4-day weekend then. So every day is going to be a bit different. However, typically Mondays are a lot of your meeting days. Are there any athletes in here? Anyone? Cool. I saw you guys last night. Hey, some of you maybe in high school, like who's familiar with film, right? Okay. One of my colleagues used this last night. Monday morning meetings are typically similar to film. You watch film to get better and kind of help yourself produce. It's the same thing with us. Everyone kind of takes a look at, hey, where can I get help? Where do I need help? What did I do well? What do I not do well? Okay, it's a good self-reflection Monday. Then a lot of it's client outreach. So working to find clients, working to meet with clients, prospecting as well. So got that in common there. And then actually physically having the meetings with the clients. So that could be individually, depending on how you're feeling, where you're at in the process. You know, it's very you judged. And then working with a joint worker. So various advisors that you can also learn from. They might not be your specific mentor, but they can act as a mentor in certain ways, kind of teach you language around like, I don't know, different prospecting language, different ways to handle various situations based on what the client does for a career. There are all sorts of different ways that you can learn from other advisors. And then we talked about continuous learning. You're going to continue to learn, okay, whether it's about clients, processes, best practices, what you personally like when it comes to the language, okay? So I would say those are probably your day in and your day out, but we like to make sure you also have fun. So trying to set up various events throughout the week that you guys can hang out as a group.
Thank you. Thank you. And talking about, yeah, continuing to learn. Why do you think they hire college graduates? Why do you think they check your GPAs and your grades? They want to know you can learn because you're going to have to. That's part of the deal. It isn't end when you leave here. It becomes even, it continues and it even grows. So Michelle, can you, we're starting to run a little short on time, but maybe in about 4 or 5 minutes, can you tell us about FIS and what, you have a great internship program. Can you explain that a little bit and how what that looks like?
Yeah, so we'll bring in our sales interns for our 10-week full-time paid internship. As you know, FIS is mission driven and our culture is just about having a good work-life balance and being your own chief learning officer. So to that end, we bring in our interns. We spend the first week in orientation together, giving everyone access to all of our systems, getting their feet under them, having fun, everyone getting to know each other. And then they're embedded within our sales organization. Last summer they went into our growth key accounts, our verticals, our North American account management organization, capital markets, and banking sales. They got to work with seasoned sellers. They got, onboarding buddies, sales managers, and mentors. They immediately got to jump in and do meaningful work. Because each team is different, some were doing account planning, some were generating pipelines, everyone was attending client meetings and seeing how to advance sales opportunities. We really want to give them the opportunity to do meaningful work, to learn, to have fun, but also to see what a future career could look like here. Because at the end of the summer, for people that are successful, we want to extend offers. For the last few summers, we've converted 80% of our interns to full-time. And for the last handful of years, we have over 90% retention for our grads that stay on. We help to accelerate their sales skill development to become quota carriers and successful. And yeah, that's the end goal is to develop our future sales leaders. So this is the intern program's the feeder to our full-time 2-year grad program.
And one of the things I really like about FIS, and correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, is, but this is where you really get to know about people, what their strengths are and their aptitudes. And that's when you find out where you have so many different opportunities. This is fun when you find out where you actually get to put them and where they're going to flourish, correct?
Exactly. At the end of the summer, sometimes I think this is an amazing person for FIS, but maybe not for sales. So we've helped to retain people and to get them into the right seat on the bus and to help them to build amazing careers. Sometimes it's in sales, sometimes it's not.
Great. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. I asked Michael Winters to come up here because we have an ambassador program for our partners. And when we found out that Natalie Roberto could not make it today for ACOM, which was just right before this happened, I asked Michael to come up and just tell us a little bit about Paycom.
Yeah, so can everyone hear me? Who here has had a job where they had to get paid through some software? Like, it's just sent right to their checking savings account. So that's a lot of what Paycom does. Paycom is an HR software firm that moves all of everyone's HR systems onto one location. So instead of having, multiple locations, just all be on one place in the cloud. And they're a really interesting company. They really like to take care of their employees. They don't really have a lot of people leaving the company. So once someone starts working for Paycom, they're normally set for life. They really enjoy working for the company, just how the way the company culture works and how everyone else is taken care of. And their internship program is mainly based for sales, but it's a junior exclusive internship program. And with that program, you're getting a lot of training and a lot of hands-on experience with real world situations. You get put with one mentor. So they're training you the whole time. You're going to learn a lot of things from him. And we'll be doing a lot of hands-on work like cold calling, like actually running meetings and setting everything up. And I don't work for Paycom personally, but the people I've talked to really seem to love it, and they wouldn't change anything in the world. Then they would stay there, do it 1,000 times over again if they could.
Thank you, Michael. That was very good. I will say this about the 4 companies that are here, because I used to try to hire people away from Northwestern Mutual, and after 5 years there, you couldn't touch them. Okay, and it's pretty much the same thing at Federated. And I know that Michelle at FIS, you have extremely low turnover. Kelly Grappi gave me a number that was in the retention that was like in the 90%, so like 92 or 94%. Does that sound about right?
It is. Yep. It's amazing, especially in the last few years when you think about how many people have changed jobs and we have over 90% retention.
Okay. So quick question for you, and then then we'll go to. I love it when we have our partners give students advice. I wish we'd had more programs like that, because I could have used a lot of advice 40 years ago. But so Michelle, most of your people, are they working in person? Are they virtual? Is it hybrid? What's going on?
During COVID, we had we were obviously virtual and people were thriving. They were doing amazing. So we started to recruit for virtual roles. But what we decided for 2023 was that we really wanted people to have an in-office experience. So we've refocused our energy on bringing in the best and the brightest for, 5 or 6 cities where we're going to create early talent hubs. And people then can, be hybrid. They can have their in-office experience, they can build that network, but they can also still have the flexibility to work, at home or virtual or from the mountain or, wherever they want to. But that's been, I think, a really great change for us going into next year to make sure that everyone has that opportunity to leverage that in-office experience as much or as little as they want to.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. Ben, what about Federated? No, as far as virtual or in person?
Everything we do is in person. Our sales reps, once you get into your territory, we really don't even hit the phones very hard. I would say you make less than 10 phone calls a week. Everything is driving to the businesses that you either insure already and also to your prospects. Walking in, shaking their hand, kind of doing the old school way of business. We serve anyone from the one-man plumber to the 500-person manufacturer, and walking into those places and asking for the owners, sitting down and essentially having good conversation and developing relationships.
Okay. All right. Anya?
Yeah, so I would say it kind of depends on the year. We have a year-round program. So summer, like ideally, we'd love to have you in office. That's the best time to develop a culture. We also do hybrid though. So like, again, we want you in office as much as possible. I think that's just how you're going to learn best. And that's just what we've seen of our interns. However, again, you guys are your own business owners. We can't exactly tell you 100% what to do, but we can advise you. So I would say hybrid there for sure, where you guys can, you have class and you're like, hey, I'm going to take some meetings. Go ahead, take your meetings after class. But we'll see you in office on Thursday, whatever it might be. So a little bit of both, but I would say summer, it's more in person than hybrid.
Michael, what can you tell us about Paycom on that?
For Paycom, at least from an internship standpoint, they are 100% in person. So you'll be in office every day, Monday through Friday, just in the ground, working hard.
Right. So thank you, Michael. And let's give Michael a round of applause to step in and do this. Isn't that cool? He learned his stuff. He spent time interviewing them. So students are always looking for some advice as they graduate or get prepared to graduate. What maybe should they have done while they were in college, or what should they do when they first get out there? What's important? So Ben, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, there's two things that I think they're not things that you really have metrics on or things that you can objectively, keep track of. But the two things that I think are really important are making yourself uncomfortable as frequently as you can. And the other thing is just be genuinely interested in everyone that you meet. Putting yourself in uncomfortable situations as early on as you can is only going to get you to be a more effective person in whatever field you end up being in. If you don't put yourself in uncomfortable situations now, things that get you nervous, things that get your heart rate up, things that make your voice shake a little bit, you are going to enter the work world and you're going to struggle initially, and it's going to be a lot more difficult. There's going to be a lot more abrasion in everything you're doing. If you can put yourself in an uncomfortable situation every day and really strive to do that, your life will become a lot easier and it'll become a lot more exciting. The other thing is going to be when you interact with someone, if you view every single person, regardless of who it is, as someone that has one piece of knowledge that you do not know, and the only goal that you have is to ask enough good questions, you're going to develop great relationships. You're going to have great conversations. It's going to become massive. Those two things, I wish I would have been doing that in college, and it has made my life a lot.
Thank you, Ben. Anya, what about you?
Those are great, by the way, so you should definitely take those. I would say though too, like as you guys are just starting to do your job search, okay, I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to feel like we have to know exactly what's happening come graduation. And I would say don't put so much pressure on yourself in that sense, right? Because a lot of what you're doing your first year out of school is going to be some self-exploration, and it's going to be a lot of personal learning about yourself too. I would say when you are looking for a job and you are looking for an internship or whatever it might be, I would say make sure that you are joining because you genuinely enjoy the people that you've met and that you've gotten to talk to and spend time with along in that process. Because at the end of the day, right, you're spending maybe 8 hours a day with these people 5 days out of the week. So if you don't like them, like that's going to be a struggle for you. So you should probably figure out if you see yourself working with these people, enjoying it. Are you going to have fun at work? I know that's like so cliche of like, oh, you should enjoy what you do. But like, no, the people make a huge difference in that, right? So I think as you're exploring it, join for a culture, maybe not so much the job at first, because you're going to learn the job and you can learn any job, but you can't get out of the people that you work with unless you leave the company, right? So like join a company for the people, genuinely.
Great advice. Thank you. And Michelle?
I totally agree with the other panelists. It's exactly the advice I would give. I think that as a hiring manager, I'm looking for, candidates to come and to have qualities that demonstrate that they're collaborative, they're curious, they have drive, they have grit, they're resilient, they're innovative, adaptable, resourceful. And at the end of the day, what does that mean in an interview or in a conversation? It means that you guys really know yourselves, you're being authentic, and you learn to tell your employability story, and that you can connect what we're looking for with the qualities that you have and the experiences that you've gone through and what you've learned from your success and from your failure. So I would really spend some time, you know, thinking through those experiences and what you've learned and what kind of journey that's taking you on. And the better that you get at understanding yourself and telling your story, the easier it will be for people who are interviewing interviewing you to connect with you and to root for you.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you. And if you notice, we put their contact information up here so you can contact them if you want to take a picture of that. And then we'll in just a minute, we'll be putting that QR code back up. There is a survey on there. One of the questions is, would you like to have these people contact you? And I know they're willing to talk to you and they have some great opportunities. like I say, it's not just sales. They have other functions. They're companies and they have all the functions in the world. So please, if you're interested, talk to them. And I'm going to just piggyback real quick on what you said, Michelle. How as an employer do you find out that these people have these qualities? It's by what they did while they were in school, what they did in their jobs, what they did in their internships. Did they excel? Did they join an organization, stay with it, end up on the e-board, maybe became president or just an officer or whatever? Did they get promoted? Maybe they were on a landscaping crew, but they started digging holes and now they're running 2 or 3 crews. You know, did they grow? Did they show leadership? Did they show all these things? And that's what you have to be able to show the employer. So right now, as a student, you need to be building your resume. That would be my biggest advice. Build your resume with experiences. So anyway, Andy, if you could put that up, and I'll just ask you, does anybody here have any questions? Just looking to get out of here. Okay. Well, before you go, please come down, thank these people, talk to them. If you're interested in chatting with them, they would appreciate it. And thanks so much, everybody, for attending.
Really quick for AMA students and anyone else who is interested, next week we are having